Okay. We good, boss?
Let's go.
Yeah? All right, here we go. Dan Slick, podcast, episode 12. Slick, how we doing?
Doing well.
Good to hear, man. Good to hear. Might be some background noise, but here we go. First segment. Where am I wrong? Will, my dear friend, there's been a real epidemic happening in the past few years that I have seen that we need to put an end to. Saying happy whatever day of the week needs to stop. It's a really bad messaging. It means that you're like just trying to get through the week. You're trying to get through the day. Life is shitty. We need to start talking about like, hey man, we got this great opportunity to have an awesome moment. How do we phrase that better? Where am I wrong?
Yeah, so I usually try to poke holes in your arguments, but I think this is also just a complete throwaway line. Here's where if I'm really just scraping the bottom of the barrel here for some arguments against it.
Yeah.
Some people might need that. Like for some people might be in a place where like, you know, they don't have as much agency over what they do on a daily basis, and you know what, they just need some like small hits of happiness to get them through a week for the short term. I agree, I don't think it's a long term thing, but I think it could be, you could argue that like some people just need some short term relief and some trivial numbness to get them through the slog, but that's really scraping the bottom of the barrel there.
No, I think that's probably the best argument. Yeah, I think
there's also, while you're thinking, sorry, there's also the argument of just like, well, you know, if the utility of it is to make you feel good, you know, then, you know, what's wrong? What's wrong? It's sort of stupid, but, you know, what's wrong? If it helps people, what's the problem?
Yeah, I would say that it probably helps people in the short term, but not so much the long term. Just thinking about like getting through this moment, getting through this day, getting through this meeting, whatever it may be. So I think we need to find a way to deal with that more effectively. Yeah, as you've probably seen from these podcasts, a bit of a, can come off as a bit, not negative, but a bit of a misery guy, kind of a miserable F. Well, I think like finding the misery first and building off of that is a better way as opposed to like
I think that's one of my favorite hot takes of yours, where you were just like, we need to get real about depression. Like everyone starts there. That's the building block.
That's the building block. I like that. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna revisit that. So happy Monday. Oh.
Okay, so here's the situation, and I'll tweak it to be a little more topical with all the politics going on. So here's a fun fact I got a Trump ad the other day, so this fits right in.
Nice.
And so it's basically like, hey, if we elect a Democrat, then in who knows how many years, maybe just 2 years, we're going to be in a communist country, worse than China. So what's the logical fallacy there?
I think slippery slope 101, right? It's kind of a
check. Yep.
That's like probably the first time I actually got the name of the fallacy when we do these. I do find these fun. Yeah, I think that you know, it's kind of fear mongering and slippery slope, and you know, if this happens, you know, think about the children. What will happen next? Like what could, you know, it's like like easy folks, like you just, you know,
yeah, it's related to
one little thing.
It's often like mixed with an appeal to fear or like an argument from consequences. So like, oh, like because I can imagine this consequence, this is wrong.
Yeah.
It's like how do you know that's a consequence? Like, so yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of that as like a? So, for example, I can think of a case where like that's a really useful thing, where it's like, okay, it might be a bit far-fetched, but it's really important to consider the consequences of a crazy slippery slope. Think like, I mean, World War II was like, or World War I, Archduke Ferdinand, World War I, complete slippery slope, right? Like that was just like, and if someone had made that argument, they would have been like, oh, well, that's a slippery slope argument. It's like, but it like killed millions of people. So
yeah, there was so much pressure at that time. It was just like a house of cards. I didn't realize that Germany wasn't a country until like 1880 or something like that. And there was so much pressure on them from both sides, like from France
and the Holy Roman Empire.
They were just like,
yeah. One of my dad's favorite lines. I think it's just one of like there's like this textbook dads get of just like things they can say, and his favorite line about history is, oh, the Holy Roman Empire. Well, it was neither Holy Roman or an empire. And I'm just like, oh god. But anyway, it's true. It's true. You learn about that in history class.
Yeah, slippery slope. We'll see a lot in political season here. I don't know if I have much to add to that front. But yeah, I like your idea where it could be useful. I think about it from a personal perspective. But anyway, tip of the day. So we got a lot of love on our first segment, tip of the day. Many folks got back to us and said, great advice, Dan. Here's some more. So you probably see that I'm very unprepared when I come to these meetings, and I'm also unprepared in a lot of other meetings that I attend. But the only way to deal with that, the only reasonable thing to do when you're critically unprepared is one, be the first one there. And two, talk way too much in the beginning. Like really just punch the meeting in the face before it punches you. So that's my tip of the day to everyone. Will, I hope that you are taking advantage of that in whatever meetings you just finish one up. So again, it's kind of where am I wrong? I think that's the best way to deal with unpreparedness.
Yeah. So I'm a huge proponent of unpreparedness, and I think part of this is self-justifying my willingness to procrastinate, but also I think it's a great creative constraint. I think forcing yourself to go into something and do things on the fly is an amazing creative constraint, and like it makes you think if you're used to that. So like some people, like I think there are some personalities that are not a fit for this sort of thing, where it's like I'm not saying a damn word if I don't know what if I haven't.
I don't have like a TED talk down in 17 minutes of like verbatim.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm a huge fan, and also I'm a big believer in like how shockingly easy it is. But you and I did door-to-door sales, Dan. It's shockingly easy, the amount of confidence you can get behind an idea, just the way you say it.
Yeah, I know, it is wild. It's also a hack of like the human brain.
Part of coming up with an idea is hearing yourself say it. So like there's a lot to be said, I think, for just like getting out there and just blabbering away, and then like you'll get some things that stick, right? But
it's kind of the ethos of this podcast, I think. I mean, it's like
people get in that mindset of like, oh, the creative process is something alone by myself. It's like, no, like get out there and say it.
Yeah, you got to put your shitty ideas out in the market. That's the thing with like a lean startup methodology too. It's like, hey, like whatever you think your awesome product is going to be, like guess what? It's going to suck. It's going to be bad, like always, not always, but like you got to keep it out to the market. Get into the market, and see what happens. So yeah, I could agree more. Just like get out there. Not saying that you can't have a little bit of preparedness, but get out there and wait, folks.
Yeah, great tip, Dan. Okay, so we've all heard a lot about virtual reality. I know. If you've seen Black Mirror, there's some really trippy ones.
Right.
I don't know, have you seen Black Mirror, Dan?
I've seen a handful of episodes. I've seen them on Netflix, but I should watch that one. That seems good.
Cool. So magic wand here. You have the resources to implement virtual reality at any scale for the benefit of humanity. What do you do?
Yeah. Ooh, I thought by now I'd have something awesome. Since you just first introduced this to me. The first thing that pops in my brain is like the distraction capability, but I feel like that is another like short-term fix to the problems that we face. So I don't know if that's the best answer because like if you have augmented reality, virtual reality, available to the masses, at a very low cost or no cost, you can just kind of it makes it significantly easier to manipulate and then like kind of breed potential control. So I think that can be dangerous. So I don't know. It's like maybe you can help me get a little more productive first thought.
Yeah, well, so I was thinking about this a little bit, and I think the personal habit stuff could be cool. So, for example, let's say you want to, and this would be an opt-in thing. This is not, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of like you must use virtual reality as a kind of governmental control thing, but I think it'd be cool to like be like, hey, this is a resource, and basically what it'd be is like, you know, you'd have like either contact lenses would be ideal, or like glasses that you wear, and let's say you picked, I want to eat more healthy. Okay, any unhealthy food you see, it's like lava or something like crazy, evil, and bad, and you just like whenever you see it, you're just like, oh, you get like this repulsion, you know. So it's like personal marketing. You get to choose what is appealing to you beforehand, and then it filters it automatically. Because I feel like that's what we suck at. We're like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do that, and then you see it, and you're like, oh, ice cream, you know. And so it's like, I don't know, maybe helping. I think helping with the visual triggers of reality that we're so bad at.
Mitigating the visual cortex. The visual cortex is a very, very powerful part of the brain, obviously. I like that. It's way better than mine with the dystopian government control idea. But yeah, I think there are definitely some positive use cases here. Oh, we're done. Okay,
we're done.
Okay. Damn, that was a bit of a. Yeah, I feel like our segments are getting a little bit long in the tooth. I don't know. I think we need to find a way to tighten them up, or we can like either go long form, but long form is too much. So I don't know.
I don't know. I like the short form.
Yeah, I think you're probably
we should
right. Short form's good.
I think we should watch this one and see what we think then, because I feel like our first impressions right after recording are always just like completely misses.
Completely what?
Just completely miss like what the essence of the recording actually was. I don't know. It just
yeah, I know you're probably right. Well, I'm like, ooh, we just smashed that. And I was like, dude, that was terrible. And I'm like, wow, that was a bad episode. And then I look back later, I'm like, hey man, nice, good point, Dan. Good point, slick. You crushed it, man. Nice. So, yeah, I don't know, man. This is good. I like the magic wand there. That's a real thought provoker. Yeah, it's gonna be the future. I mean, we're already kind of seeing it with like our phones. Like I know like Snapchat is going like heavy on the augmented reality stuff.
yeah, it's super heavy on it.
So it would be interesting. Yeah, I like your idea around mitigating bad behavior, or like, I don't know, even mitigating screen time or whatever it may be.
Well, I think it could also be useful for, you know, someone who willingly wants to like remove an subconscious biases or subconscious things that you can't be conscious of, like things that are subconscious phenomena. You can use VR to help you recognize and break and dive into. So I think that's where there's a lot of interesting, because I mean you can't there's only so far, you can only go so far in self-education for understanding like the implementation of subconscious biases, because like it's subconscious, so it's like it's de facto happening when you're not aware of it. And so it's like, okay, what we could use that as technology, right, to help you bring awareness to it when you physically cannot, because it's subconscious. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.